32 NFL teams in 32 days. Ish.
Yeah, ish.
Seb, way to fucking screw that up. Anyways, here we are, guys. God dang. Seb, you just ruined everything. Why are we even doing this tonight?
Because we get to talk about the Falcons.
That was a rhetorical question. I can't even spell that, but I'm going to tell you this. Tonight, we're talking about the Falcons. Yes, I'm the first one that told you, folks. You heard it from me live. 32 teams in 32 days. Tonight, we land on the Falcons. We're going to talk about the biggest draft needs. And I'm telling you what, folks, there's a lot of them. There is a lot of them. Seb, can you go down what you feel like their biggest needs are?
Yeah, let's go ahead and start this shit. What the fuck, Falcons? I've been saying it. I said it last year. Hey, maybe we should get a guard. Yeah, I think we need a guard. Probably need a guard, guys, because ours left. Hey guys. It's like Jay Cutler, 2014 Bears. He's just like, please. Hey, could I get a guard? Hey, an offensive line. Hey. And they just said, no, I don't think so. We're going to take that UGA linebacker. I can never remember his fucking name.
Too bad.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Bears. Yeah, I definitely think offensive guard is our biggest need. We have a couple of need, offensive guard, defensive tackle, because Dontari Poe did leave or is likely to be let go. And then, oh God, I'm drawing a blank. Who was the defensive tackle that butt raped Dak Prescott?
Oh, crap. I hate you right now. I'm looking at him in my head. It's not Claiborne, is it?
Yeah, Claiborne.
Okay.
Yeah, he's gone as well. He's a free agent as well. So they'll probably end up letting him go, which I'm completely okay with, because we have Grady Jarrett, Tack, and we have Beastly on that line. So we get somebody else in there that can, be a really good run stop, but maybe get a little bit of defensive pressure too would be kind of nice.
Well, Dontari Poe was a pretty good Band-Aid for this year, but the Falcons don't have much room to maneuver in terms of cap space this year. I think in terms of money, they're like 27th in the league. They have about $11 million in cap space, and they're trying to sign Matt Ryan to a longer, deal to lock him up as a Falcon forever. But I was kind of being facetious leading into this podcast. I mean, the Falcons really only have three needs, and they're pretty glaring. It's right guard, or guard in general, defensive tackle, and possibly some secondary help, maybe in maybe a free safety or.
Yeah, I definitely think that the Falcons could use some depth up there to pair with one of probably my favorite Falcons player, which is Keanu Neal. I'm a huge Keanu Neal fan. I do like Rico, and I like what he's done back there. But I just think that in Dan Quinn's defense, you just can't have enough good, solid depth in the secondary positions. And I think having somebody in there that can, kind of be another free safety and cover up with that cover two that they'll sometimes run, I think that'd be very beneficial. But at the same time, I see it if they can, if they address that later in the second or the third round, I'm completely cool with it. There's a couple of names at the defensive tackle that are really generally falling to the Falcons where we stand. Vita Vea, defensive tackle out of Washington. I like him. He's very heavy, but he's great against the run, and he's good in pass rush. He's a big dude. He can collapse that pocket really easily. I'm
not sold on him.
I'm not. It's Washington is my biggest issue, and honestly, you guys are gonna, people are gonna disagree with me, which is absolutely fine. But I would actually like it if we had Deron Payne. I got to, we watched him in the national championship against my Georgia Bulldogs, and dude's just a wrecking crew. He's in my opinion, he is ridiculously good. His impact at the combine this weekend is going to be felt. It'll be interesting to see what he does. He's a little bit shorter than most of the other high-end defensive tackles that you're looking at. Most of them are like 6'5", 6'4". Deron Payne, 6'2". But, and then Maurice Hurst, as much as I hate to say a Michigan player, but no. Maurice Hurst, I mean, the thing is if you watch him, his first step is insane. Like his ability to get into the backfield and cause disruption back there is paramount if you're playing in the NFC South against Drew Brees, Jameis Winston, and Cam Newton. And I think pairing Maurice Hurst with Grady Jarrett could be pretty sick.
Well, you made an interesting point talking about the size of defensive tackles and how Daron Payne was a little undersized. And that's eerily similar to a guy by the name of Dontari Poe. When he came out of Memphis. He was a physical freak. He made a name for himself at the NFL Combine. And while he did come from Memphis in a lesser known school, he dominated there, kind of like Daron Payne has dominated. And you never know. He could be one of those people that falls down to the Falcons, and I think would be a great asset. The great news is that every position that the Falcons need to fill is ideal. The ideal position to take them in is in the back half of the draft. I mean, you don't take guards early. Typically, they're not, unless you get a once every 5 or 10 year prospect that comes out, which there's definitely one in this year's draft. I think tackles are going to be a premium this year. So you could definitely see some guards start slipping down. So when you talk about, taking a guard or a defensive tackle or a free safety, when you're drafting in the back half, the final 10 picks of the NFL draft, the first 32, this is the perfect place to take them. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better situation. The Falcons have 6 picks this year. Their only pick that they're missing is the 5th round pick. And oddly enough and funny enough, they actually ended up getting the Mr. Irrelevant pick. And I think the Falcons are in a great position to fill some needs and make a final push to win a Super Bowl that they should have won 2 years ago.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think that, okay, I gave you some names of defensive tackles because, in my opinion, that's where I think Dan Quinn's going to go because he's a defensive-minded coach. And, since he's been as the head coach of the Falcons, they have taken a defensive player in every first round, which is fine. I mean, they needed to build up that defense, and look what we have now. I think getting a guard is the most important thing because if you watched last year, there was a lot of penetration we were getting a lot of penalties on that guard side that we were trying to supplant after it was vacated. And Matt Ryan was getting a lot more pressure on him than he's used to, and there was just no. They just weren't synced up. It seemed to me, and there's a couple that I really like. Of course, I would love Quentin Nelson because, in my opinion, I think he's just going to be an All-Pro. Like I see him as an All-Pro guard pretty much in his first or second year. But he's probably going to go in the top 10, and the Falcons aren't trading up to draft a guard. If they did, I would be amazingly surprised and kind of happy, but I would prefer the depth rather than give up future picks. Billy Price and Isaiah Wynn will probably be there at this point. I like both. Isaiah Wynn's arms are a little short, but I think that his ability in game, like his gameplay ability, I think is going to be the biggest thing. I don't see him being like having a huge combine. I really don't. Just looking at him, but I think that he's going to be one of these kinds of players that his game translates better to actual game, as opposed to the underwear Olympics.
That's a very funny way to put that. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, nice. But that's what I think. And I like Billy Price too. He's a good run blocker and he's nasty, and that's what I like. And I like someone that's aware. It's kind of my favorite thing about Billy Price right now. If you watch his game tape, his awareness is ridiculous. Like his ability to see blitzers coming from different sides, or when he needs to shed defensive tackles and shift over to someone that's coming in. He's done a really good job up there. So I just want somebody to be able to come in there and give Matt Ryan the appropriate time. Also, I would really like it if they drafted another offensive coordinator. They haven't quite let teams do that yet, but I would really enjoy it if maybe we could do that.
That's so funny. I think no matter what, though, you have to say that in terms of drafting, you should have full confidence in what that front office is going to do. And ever since Dan Quinn has been there, from a drafting perspective, they've made the right move. I think one of the elephants in the room is the fact that looks like Taylor Gabriel is going to be moving on from the Falcons and cashing in on his big payday as a free agent. Sanu is getting up there, and so is, quite frankly, Julio Jones. And that's kind of one of the elephants in the room. I don't think that they necessarily address a number 1 or a number 2 wide receiver role in this year's draft, but I think it is something that they're going to have to draft in the later rounds, where they're going to have to take a flyer on somebody to add some depth at that wide receiver position.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And, the thing is that position where we are drafting at the end of the first round, it's entirely possible that, the good defensive tackles get snagged up. It's entirely possible the good guards get snagged up, and then you're left with it and you go, well, if that happens, some of the better wide receivers could absolutely drop. Calvin Ridley could not have a great showing at the combine. James Washington could not have a great show at the combine. Christian Kirk, somebody that's a little bit speedier to take the top off the team, because Julio is fast. Make no mistake about it. I'm not talking. We want somebody that's I think as a number 2 and get a burner in there before when eventually Julio does leave, or injuries catch up to him, and that's what I foresee happening before he just retires because he's old. Is that injuries are the biggest issue
for sure, and definitely health is always one of those biggest concerns. But
yeah.
I mean, I would say that's a pretty good assessment of the Falcons heading into the 2018 NFL Draft. We have the Combine coming up this weekend. I'll be there, and hopefully we can do a podcast while I am attending the NFL Combine. But as always, we're homegrown Georgia boys, kind of. Well, I mean, I'm not. I'm actually from Tennessee, but we live here, is what I'm basically saying. So. We have a ton of Georgia followers. We drink nothing but Georgia beer, and we want to hear from you guys. So let us know what you think on all of our social media channels. Seb, I'm going to let you take it out, my friend.
Yeah, you guys, you can see us on Facebook. You can see us on Twitter, Instagram. We're at The Backups with a Z, www.thebackups.com. You can find us on iTunes. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Google Play. You can find us on Stitcher. Just check us out on Apple Audio, you guys.
What about my?
Give us a shout.
You've been listening to the Backups Podcast. Follow us on Instagram, find us on iTunes, and visit the website at www.thebackups.com with a Z for more.